t'entends, Kogutiken. Ça, tu avec Pijat, Kogutiken. Ça veut dire, dis rien. Même si t'entends une voix, dis rien, dis, parle pas, dis. Mon père, moi, il me laissait au sous-sol, puis il me disait, faut pas que tu bouges.
J'ai dit à mon père, je l'ai parlé comme il faut, c'est quoi, t'as cru, là? Qu'est-ce que je vivais au passé, là? Il m'a cru, j'ai dit non. Parce que tu n'iras pas à l'école. T'avais avec mon tambour.
There was a bush road there, and Mom used to walk me to the highway, to the main road, and wait for the bus. We used to go to school in a truck. Some of the kids were sent to residential school, but I didn't go.
In Canada, 150,000 Native American, Inuit, and Métis children were torn away from their parents and taken by force to residential schools. It was brutal and traumatic. It is estimated that more than 6,000 of them died from malnutrition, disease, physical abuse, suicide, or froze to death after running away. Few parents were able to stand up to the government and the church, but some found the courage. Marie-Jeanne and William Papetti celebrated their 40th wedding anniversary this year.
William.
Comment tu t'appelles?
Bethany.
Their home in Lac Simon, Quebec, has become a refuge for their children, grandchildren, and others who have come into their care over the years.
Je lis, il y avait un mois quand j'ai commencé à garder. Aujourd'hui, c'est notre petit cœur à nous autres.
Marie-Jeanne never went to residential school, the federal institution whose very goal was to strip away Native children's language, culture, family, and identity.
Mon père m'a protégée. Il a tout fait pour pas que j'aille au pensionnat.
A few years earlier, Marie-Jeanne's father had tried all he could to keep his boys close to him. But the RCMP, the armed branch of Indian Affairs, stepped in and had him arrested. He was violating the Indian Act by refusing to send his sons to school.
Mon père n'a pas le choix de laisser ma fratrie partir.
Ils l'ont emmené en prison?
Oui, je pense qu'il a fait 3 mois de prison, mon père, pour pas avoir voulu laisser ma fratrie à l'école.
The school, Saint-Marc de Figuerie, was located in Abitibi, Quebec. When Marie-Jeanne's brothers and sister returned home the following summer, the damage had been done.
Là, quand ça a été votre tour d'aller à l'école, là, votre père, il était au courant là, de ce qui se passait.
Oui, je pense que oui, c'est pour ça qu'il m'a vraiment pas laissé aller là. Je pense qu'avec du monde avait commencé à parler. Les étudiants avaient commencé à parler de ce qui se passait là.
He had a plan for his youngest daughter, who was just 5 years old. No one would take her away to residential school. He would hide Marie-Jeanne.
Il mettait comme un gros toile dans le sous-sol. Puis il avait commis un petit matelas pour que je puisse être à l'aise. Puis il avait commis un petit pot pour faire pipi là. Mais je pouvais quand même promener en bas, mais il y avait quand même des petites fenêtres là. Il y en avait un côté en avant par là. Puis c'est là, moi je m'en allais regarder des fois dans la petite fenêtre. Puis quand je regardais par à côté de même, je voyais un autobus qui était parqué en avant.
The school bus came by every September to collect the children. Father Edmond Brouillard would also be making the rounds. At the start of the school year, Father Brouillard, who is fluent in Algonquin, would go door to door in the reserve with a list in hand, making sure all the children had left for the school. And every time, Marie-Jeanne's father would tell the priest his little girl had run away to the lake.
Puis il disait toujours, ah, j'ai quitté coucher de manie, il disait ça à mon père. Puis es-tu revenu là, Marie-Jeanne, il disait à mon père. Puis Briard disait ça à mon père. Kawin, comme chez, il dit mon père. Non, pas encore, il dit mon père. Non, il dit. Ah, qu'est-ce que tu dis, disait mon père. Mon père, non, ça veut dire, cherche-la. Ah, attends, il va revenir d'elle-même, il disait mon père. Mon père, il ne bougeait pas. Il savait, j'étais au sous-sol. Il me disait juste, il ne faut pas que tu réponds quand on va t'appeler.
When Father Brouillard finally left, Marie-Jeanne could come out of hiding. She would spend days walking around the lake where she was safe.
J'avais bien beaucoup dans ma robe quand je prenais des poissons.
Avec combien?
Oh, je sais pas bien beaucoup. Je pouvais pas compter, je savais pas compter encore. Puis là, je promenais à l'entour du lac, puis je revenais, puis je m'en allais jusqu'à la pointe, puis je revenais encore, puis je revenais à l'autre pointe. Puis je recommençais, je pense, 2-3 fois dans la journée à promener au bord du lac.
In the morning, before the Oblate father showed up, she would go back to her hiding place in the basement. Marie-Jeanne was able to live with her parents and grandparents, speaking Algonquin, until age 7, after which she attended the local elementary school in the neighboring village. Marie-Jeanne managed to avoid residential school, but in a bitter twist of fate, residential school caught up to her. Someone close to her, a victim of abuse at Saint-Marc-de-Figuerie, sexually assaulted her.
Je pense qu'il y avait à peu près 19.
19 ans?
Ouais.
Puis vous aviez quel âge?
Moi, je pense que j'avais 8 ans. J'ai été épargnée de ne pas aller au pensionnat, mais j'ai eu quand même des séquelles de pensionnat. Qu'est-ce qu'ils autres ont subi, ils l'ont ramené à la maison, puis c'est moi que... Il m'a fait... Il m'a fait subir qu'est-ce qu'ils ont subi.
That day, the happy, carefree girl that Marie-Jeanne was ceased to exist.
J'ai commencé à consommer, je pense que j'avais 11 ans. Je sniffais du gaz. Puis quand je sniffais du gaz, j'avais des coups. Mon père, il me frappait parce qu'il ne voulait pas que je sniffe. On m'avait baisé la veille, puis moi, je sniffais après le matin.
Puis ce que vous avez vécu, vous ne l'avez jamais dit à votre père?
Non. Non, je ne l'ai jamais dit à mon père.
Marie-Jeanne married very young, at the age of 14. She's been clean for 23 years.
J'étais quand même chanceuse de l'avoir parce que ça a été mon protecteur, je pense, mon mari.
Her husband, William Papetsi, never spoke to her about his stay in residential school until he decided to speak before the Truth and Reconciliation Commission.
Il m'a dit, accompagne-moi, je ne serai pas capable. Parce que là, j'ai su son histoire de lui qui a été abusé aussi.
Je vais raconter un peu mon histoire. Tout a commencé en 1962.
William Papetsi remembers the summer before he left for residential school.
Les sœurs sont venues en premier. Ils venaient nous rendre visite, ils donnaient des suçons, des suçons pour nous attirer. Là. Plus j'en voulais, plus ils me disaient « OK, tu vas attendre, on va te donner au pensionnat. » C'est avec ça qu'ils nous ont tiré des bonbons, là. Des bonnes sortes.
William was only 5 years old when he was sent off to Saint-Marc-de-Figuerie Residential School. Each child was given a number. His was 71. For years, William was a victim of repeated sexual assaults. He can still hear the footsteps in the dormitories at night.
C'est quand c'est quelqu'un qui me venait voir. Je ne savais pas c'était quoi qu'il voulait faire. Quand il m'a amené dans sa chambre, c'est là que il m'a donné des bonbons, tout ça. Il regardait le TV. C'est ça que... Oh. C'est là qu'il a commencé à me toucher les parties de corps.
William grew up afraid to speak out. The priest had ordered him to keep silent. Twice he ran away. Twice he was picked up by the police, and it's Father Bougouyat who collected him at the station. One summer, he confided in his grandmother, a woman of very strong faith.
Ma grand-mère, elle m'écoutait, mais elle dit ça se peut pas. Ça se peut pas que un tel frère ou tel père te touché. C'était Dieu de faire comprendre à ma grand-mère, surtout là, qui était bien croyante avant les prêtres.
Then one day, his father, who was often away, finally believed he was telling the truth.
Oui, mon père n'a fini par croire. Parce qu'à un moment donné, je saignais à un moment donné. Je disais à mon père, c'est pas normal que tu saignes même. Je l'ai dit après. Qu'est-ce qui se passait vraiment à l'école?
For Solomon Papetsi, it was a brutal shock. He had to save William. At the end of summer, father and son took a canoe and left for the family camp, more than 100 kilometers from the reserve. No one would find his boy there.
J'avais 14 ans quand j'ai commencé à venir ici. C'était ma cachette.
But the Catholic Church wasn't done yet. Its best tracker, Father Bougouyat, was on his trail. No child would be allowed to escape, for fear others would follow suit. With the help of an elder, Bougouyat found William deep in the woods.
Mon père a parlé avec le père.
Qu'est-ce qu'il a dit?
Mon fils est retourné plus à l'école. Sa place est ici maintenant. Des affaires qu'il a subies au personnage, je la crois maintenant qu'il est ici.
Qu'est-ce que le prêtre a dit?
Le père, lui, comme s'il disait que mon père, c'était pas vrai, ces affaires-là. Qu'est-ce qui se passait là-bas, là? C'est des mensonges, tout ça, là. Mon père, il a dit non, il retourne plus, il bouge plus.
Puis le prêtre, qu'est-ce qu'il a fait?
Le père, il est retourné. Il a viré le bord. Il a viré le bord, il est parti, tout ce qui venait.
Comment vous étiez quand vous l'avez vu partir?
Ah, j'étais soulagé. Mon père m'a serré dans mes bras. J'étais content. J'ai un petit enfant. Je vais pouvoir vivre avec mon père. C'est d'être là, à partir d'être là que j'ai appris de mon père. Tout ce que j'ai appris aujourd'hui. J'étais surpris que mon père était capable de faire un tel geste, défier les autorités religieuses. Là. Je le remercie beaucoup.
Father Bougouyat roamed the Abitibi region for years, making sure that all the children would head off to residential school. The reason for his persistence later became clear. In 1996, he was sentenced to 5 years in prison for indecent assault, sexual contact, sexual assault, and gross indecency. His victims, 6 native children from the Lac Simon and Grand Lac Victoria region. William and Marie-Jeanne were not among his victims. But the father that did abuse William was never prosecuted, despite the fact that his name was mentioned repeatedly in the accounts of former residential school students. Saint-Marc de Figuerie Residential School closed its doors in 1973. Carry the Kettle, a Nakota First Nation reserve in southeast Saskatchewan. Lyndia Kikanago has gathered her family. They're expecting special guests.
Okay, yeah.
The new house,
Yeah.
54, 55.
Lita Goodwin is 90 years old. She's traveled close to 1,000 kilometers to see a little native girl she hasn't set eyes on in more than 60 years. Lyndia Kikanago was 5 when her father died. Her mother, Amy, now a widow, had to find work, but more importantly, she had to find a safe place for Lyndia. Amy's father, who had experienced the harshness of residential schools, had warned her, under no circumstance should she let Lyndia go. Lyndia, who was now living with a single, unemployed mother, had become a prime target for residential school. Children from vulnerable families, from nomadic or semi-nomadic families, were especially targeted. For Amy, it was unthinkable that her girl be taken away from her.
Now I know why we lived with the Goodwins. Mom had asked Mrs. Goodwin, Lita, to help her to keep me there. In other words, I guess Mom's thinking was because Mrs. Goodwin was non-Indian, you know, they would consider her first. So Mom asked her to help her. She wanted to keep me.
The Goodwin family lived close to the reserve. Amy's husband had worked for them in the past. Amy now asked to be hired as a housekeeper. Mother and daughter lived with the Goodwins for 2 years. 2 crucial years that protected young Lyndia from being sent to residential school. Amy's biggest fear is that her only daughter be sent here, to Lebret, one of the oldest Catholic residential schools in the country. Like so many others, it was a place where widespread abuse took place. This photo of the school illustrates the anguish felt by parents who camped out on the grounds in their teepees. They had abandoned their nomadic life to be close to their children, but they were forbidden from entering the building. Instead of being torn away from her family, Lyndia was able to have a peaceful childhood with her mother in the Goodwin home. Lita Goodwin now lives in Alberta. She wanted to make the journey to see Lyndia again. She's come with her 2 daughters.
Hello. Hi, Lyndia. I don't know if you remember me. Glennis?
Hello, this is Lita.
Peter.
I always thought about you.
Did you?
For what you
Oh,
did for
that's
us.
so nice. I didn't realize we'd done such a good service.
Ashley and Glennis. Hi, Ashley.
Lyndia introduces her to some of her 8 children. They are a close, happy family. On the deck, they talk and look at old photographs.
Oh, there's Amy. Right.
memories come flooding
Remember, I
back.
said I was standing by the glass brick when Mom said that a lady and her daughter coming to live with us.
I used to think back, you know, about Mom and I, and how the Goodwins helped us.
They came over and said, "Would you have room?" And we said, "Yes, we would have." But did you realize as a little girl the reason why you came?
No.
No, I didn't think so. She was just a happy little girl.
Together, they visit the house where they lived with Lyndia and her mother, who has since passed away.
This is where we lived.
That's where Bev and I
Oh,
slept.
there's the downstairs. Yeah, one of them was my room.
We called it the cubby hole.
She helped us. We felt safe, we were protected. Mom must have had no worries when we lived here. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm so glad.
Thank you.
And it's so wonderful to think how you appreciated it. I'm very
Get to
thankful.
tell you that in person too.
Well, nice to meet you as a woman, not a child.
Later, Lyndia was allowed to attend school outside the reserve, a white school that had started accepting Native children. To get her to school, her mother had arranged to have someone she trusted drive her to the neighboring town.
There used to be, like, this was a bush road before this gravel road was here. There was a bush road there, and Mom used to walk me to the highway, to the main road. So Mom would walk me to the road, go to school. After school, she'd be waiting at the road for me.
So she wants for you a good education. Or...
Yeah, that was always something that she always stressed, that education, because she never did.
And now knowing the history of everything that was going on, I think it's incredible what I think my grandmother did. I think it was very deliberate of her. I'm grateful for what my grandma did, because I can't imagine how my life would be different if she didn't do what she did.
Pessamit, an Innu reserve on the north coast of the St. Lawrence Seaway. Here, too, children boarded school buses destined for residential school. Theirs was in Sept-Îles, 300 kilometers from home. Robert Dominique and his nephew, Grégoire Canapé, wished they could go to residential school like all the other children. We met them in the family teepee, the only one on the reserve. When Robert Dominique told his father he wanted to go, his answer was clear-cut.
Il n'en est pas question, mon frère garçon. Puis on était plusieurs autour de la table. Puis j'ai dit, écoutez-moi bien, là, tu sais. Les filles, les garçons, il n'y a personne qui va partir d'ici. Je suis là pour vous nourrir, pour vous élever. Il n'y aura personne qui va partir d'ici. Le 20 ou le 21 juin, l'autobus scolaire arrive. Tout le monde descend avec de petites valises. Puis je les ai trouvés changés. Et puis, ils parlaient presque plus notre langue. On essayait de parler, puis non, ils avaient changé.
Robert's father was a firekeeper.
Il n'y a personne qui est venu nous chercher. Mon père avait beaucoup d'influence. Il parlait très bien français. C'est peut-être pour ça que personne n'est venu nous chercher.
Mon père était quand même aussi influent. Il avait été chef dans le temps. Et puis je pense qu'eux autres, il y avait comme un droit de parole plus élevé que les autres. Hein? S'ils voulaient pas qu'on y aille, je crois qu'ils avaient un doute. Hein? Je crois qu'ils avaient un doute, mais dans ces années-là, c'était un sujet tabou de parler contre ces hommes de Dieu, hein? Le gouvernement et tout.
Today, Kikigwa organizes healing sessions for friends who have gone to residential schools. He is a strong defender of the Innu language and culture. Native American resistance is a little-known story. A story of people who risked everything. Of families who defied the church and the Indian agents. Of entire communities moving to protect their children from residential school. Like the Innus from Pakwashipi on the north coast of the St. Lawrence Seaway, and the Ochizo-Chibwe in Alberta, called runners.
They made an effort to keep their children out of residential school. I didn't even know that there was more than, like there was such an effort made by certain people, which I think is great. And I think this reunion is just such good timing, right? Because with the Truth and Reconciliation Report, which is horrible, that's a horrible, horrible history. But this is something good, right?
Thank you.
Like during that time, so much racism, like it was just rampant. I can only imagine at that time. But we had a family who helped my grandma and my mom. And had they not, who knows if we would be here or what. I think it's a really nice story at this time, especially.
Mon père, aujourd'hui, je le remercie beaucoup. Je n'ai pas eu le temps de dire à mon père. C'est vrai que je l'apprécie beaucoup. Ma mère aussi. D'avoir pu pas dire à tes parents que tu l'aimes, que tu les aimes, tes parents. Moi, mes enfants, ils me disent qu'ils m'aiment aujourd'hui. Ils sont fiers de moi aujourd'hui, mes enfants.
C'est vraiment quelque chose de spécial que moi, ce que mon père a fait là. De m'amener ici. Je pense qu'il avait compris la méchance que je le répétais chaque année.